What we found was that uncontrolled building fires caused an extraordinary event. The collapse of World Trade Center 7 was primarily due to fires.
I saw was that the most likely cause, controlled demolition, was not investigated at all. In fact, it was dismissed in 1 or 2 sentences within the report.
For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
I turned in time to see what looked like a skyscraper implosion. It looked like it had been done by a demolition crew. The whole thing just collapsing down on itself.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Dit is controlled demolition. Zeker weten. Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Dat heeft een team gedaan van experts.
This is the first time that we're aware of that a building over 15 stories tall has collapsed primarily due to fire.
What is special about Building 7, and I think why it has gotten as much attention as it has, is because it wasn't hit by a plane. So that cannot be used as a reason for why the building collapsed. Now, it did have some fires. They weren't terribly notable fires. They were rather modest, in my opinion. And to complicate matters even more, there was an obvious foreknowledge on the part of some people that seemed to know that this building was going to come down.
That building right there, the brown building, the tall one, is number 7 World Trade Center. I've heard several reports from several different officers now that that is the building that is going to go down next. In fact, one officer told me they're just waiting for that to come down at this point.
The building is about to blow up. Moving back.
Rescue workers pushed people away from the scene.
We are walking back. There's a building about to blow up.
Now, all these stories are not compatible. You cannot have a heavily built steel frame high-rise collapse due to modest fires. If that were the case, it would be extremely unusual for that to happen. So unusual that you could not possibly predict when or if it was going to happen. At the same time, you have people more or less waiting for it to come down, and in some cases they had reported it had collapsed before it actually did.
We are getting information now that one of the other buildings, Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex, is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing.
We've got some news just coming in, actually, that the Salomon Brothers building in New York, right in the heart of Manhattan, has also collapsed. There were very few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area behind me has been completely sealed off and evacuated, apart from the emergency workers. That was done by the mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
The point is, that building is heavily built. There would be no reason to expect it to come down.
Can you confirm it was number 7 that just went in?
Yes, sir.
And you guys knew this was coming all day?
We had heard reports that the building was unstable and that it eventually would either come down on its own or it would be taken down.
Good morning. I'm here to summarize the findings from our 3-year study of the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7. Before I tell you what we found, I'd like to tell you what we did not find. We did not find any evidence that explosives were used in the collapse of Building 7. We ran down detailed computer simulations of blast scenarios. This size blast would have produced an incredibly loud sound that was not recorded on videos of the collapse nor reported by witnesses.
You want to call your mother or something? You got to get back.
know that. You gotta get back. All right.
I know. Was not recorded on videos of the collapse, nor reported by witnesses.
You want to call your mother or something? You gotta get back from here. You know that. You gotta get back. All right. Smoking.
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down.
What became immediately obvious to me was that there was overwhelming evidence that all three of those towers, 1, 2, and 7, collapsed due to controlled demolition. And the NIST reports focused almost entirely on reasons due to fire and the associated plane crashes and jet fuel.